What do you mean?
I mean, I can see everything you're doing. No, I...
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is gonna be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMAjunkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goze. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMAjunkie Radio revolution is upon us. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
with the use of MMA Junkie Radio and Sirius XM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goze.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to MMA Junkie Radio, and I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goze, our co-host. Back east, handling all the producing duties. It's gonna be Danny. What's up?
What up? How's your day so far?
Not bad.
Not bad?
Yeah. Getting in that holiday spirit little by little.
I was just telling
I
Danny
ordered
that.
another gift on Amazon for someone. So, yeah, that puts a little skip in my step.
I haven't really gotten into it yet.
You hear the it's either UPS or FedEx, and I'm a little kid, man. I run out there and see if it's it, whether it's for me or for someone else. Sometimes they stuff it in the mailbox. But, yeah, that kind of helps me go on. The tree went up last week and saw a little bit of snow the last few days, so I'm good.
I need to start hearing holiday music.
I
think that'll finally cement
Do you have a
everything.
favorite song?
Probably Jingle Bells.
God damn.
It's hard to go wrong with that.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's
Or
most
Rudolph.
people's. Yeah. I always liked Frosty the Snowman. It's quick, too, man.
That's a good one, too.
It's only like a minute and 27 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes there's a version that gets stretched out. And believe it or not, one of my favorites, I believe the author is Gene Autry. So it's like an older version of Frosty the Snowman. Yeah, maybe it's because I resemble a snowman. Ha, ha, ha. I'll just take the heat right now. I don't know, but I like that one.
What about movies?
Movies. Movies.
People swear by A Christmas Story,
Uh-huh.
and it's great, don't get me wrong, but give it a rest already.
You go first, because that's kind of what I was going to say.
Die Hard, Home Alone.
Yeah, those are great. I like, you know how Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is by far everyone's Thanksgiving movie?
Mm-hmm.
None of the Christmas ones stand out. I think they all kind of offer something. I guess Home Alone I did, as a younger person, enjoy it.
Charlie Brown, The Grinch, all that stuff. You into it or not?
I'm all right, yeah. If I miss it.
What about you, Danny? What means Christmas to you?
I mean, you took my movie. Die Hard is definitely like in my top 3. But definitely Elf. I have to watch that once or twice.
I've never seen Elf. I've only seen
How could
parts
you
of it.
not
I know,
see
everybody
it?
tells me that too. It's that good, huh?
It's, especially if you haven't seen it all the way through, it's definitely worth seeing. Now I know every part to it, but it's just one of those things that I get used to. I burned out on A Christmas Story. When I was younger, I really liked it. But then they started having it like 24 hours around Christmas time, and then I just burned out on it.
I think you can stay in the house, right? Don't they rent it out?
I don't know.
Really?
For like a lot of money, you could actually do your Christmas in that house, but it's like ridiculous
Oh,
money.
that's like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie money. For the former power couple, I guess.
That's kind of
Don't
my
they
new
spend
thing.
like $30,000 a night at places?
Yeah, that's just
God,
right.
what a giveaway of dough. I mean, is it really coming in like that?
Yeah.
They, if anybody, should
And there's
appreciate
two of them.
how far a dollar can go. They've adopted kids in regions of the world where 30,000 could feed, I don't know, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but a tribe or a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I hear stuff like that, I mean, here at the Mandalay Bay and at the Delano, there's rooms for about 500 that are insane.
Oh, yeah.
So for 30,000, like, what's literally happening? Is the helicopter landing on your floor, and then all you do is slide down a pole like and into a bathtub, full of bubbles and wine and chocolates imported from Germany? I don't get it, man. Like, what could be so much that you just say, I have to have that?
I don't know. People are just weird.
Jeez. I was reading that. I picked up an Us Weekly when we traveled to Virginia. It kills 2 hours.
Hey, you still got it?
I think I do.
Okay, I want that.
So in one of those, either that one or the other one, I forget what the other one was, it said that. 30,000 a night.
That's going to be my new, how people collect stamps and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I'm really starting to like now is going to visit houses where movies were filmed.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to eventually go to the Home Alone house, the Goonies house, shit like that.
I went by
Is
the
it
Top
only
Gun
movies?
house. It was abandoned. It ain't really
Oh,
a
yeah, that
house.
looked horrible.
Yeah, it did.
Which one, Danny?
Daniel Grebe says Claymation Christmas shows still rock
Oh, yeah, those are cool,
on
too.
Facebook Live. Martin Stabillo says Home Alone 1 and 2. So they're chiming in there. Stephen Moore's tripping. He says, where's the MMA talk? We'll get to it, fool.
Yeah,
There's
take
a
it easy.
2-hour show, 5 days a week, 10 hours to fill. I mean, we got Ray Sefo coming up, 6-time world kickboxing champ, the president of WSOF. WSOF 34 is coming your way on December 31st. So we'll be talking to him about that outstanding card that they've put together. 4 world title fights, including the headliner, Justin Gaethje, probably their biggest star. No disrespect to Marlon Moraes, a close number 2. He'll be defending versus João Zeffirino. And then 2 of the combatants on the main card, a champion, their welterweight champion, John Fitch. He defends versus Jake Shields. Jake Shields, man, that guy, I swear to God, he just doesn't get enough respect in my eyes. He's accomplished a lot. He's held a lot of world titles. And, you know, he's got a win over the current UFC champion, Tyron Woodley, and the current number 2 contender in Damian Maia. Aside from Carlos Condit and Mike Pyle and Martin Kampman and Dan Henderson and, you know,
Didn't he have one
Yushin
over Robbie,
Okani,
too?
Robbie Lawler. But his style just wasn't pleasing, I guess, to Dana White. They cut ties with him, and he's still doing his thing. He hasn't fought in over a year since he lost to Husamar Palhares across the street here in Las Vegas at the Planet Hollywood. And this will be the first time he's competed in submission grappling, but he hasn't fought in MMA. So he's 37 years old. John Fitch is 38. And, boy, I remember these guys turning into their 30s, still young cats. And now they're that older generation.
Well, John Fitch at Tough Enough, right?
John Fitch at Tough Enough. That's right. Yeah. So, listen, if you want to call in and participate, it's 866-522-2846. Sefo comes in at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, 10:30 a.m. Pacific. I still felt like they're in the heavyweight division and also UFC 206. Lots of stuff filtering out from that, including Jose Aldo telling Max Holloway, let's run it at UFC 208 in Brooklyn, New York, and that's actually the first part of February. So about 2 months, 60 days, however you want to call it, away that they can have a quick turn. As long as it doesn't pull out. I mean,
You'll see a story there. Jose Aldo not too impressed by Max Holloway's streak. I don't know where he's getting that he's all that. What do you think?
who?
That's Jose about Max. He's saying,
Yeah, he's way off. Jose, love him to death as a fighter. Exciting, amazing athlete. The run he has, the career he's had, all due respect. Probably a Mount Rushmore guy. Maybe an argument could be made to squeeze him out, but it'd have to be a hell of an argument. But seriously, sometimes he does say a few things that are just bizarre.
I like it because he's stirring stuff up.
If that's what he's doing, I mean,
It's
if
gotta be, right?
if the
'Cause how
interview's
could you deny
finishing
what
and then
Max
he
is
goes
doing?
off and giggles, I get it, but I don't take it that way. I've seen enough interviews with him where he actually says something, they get asked, and it doesn't in any way appear to be a troll or him, you know, having to go with the media. Like, do you remember when he used to say, I'm underpaid, and they'd ask him in front of Dana, and, I'm happy, you know, it just seems like he's just inconsistent or just maybe out of it. There'd be times when he'd say he didn't even watch the McGregor-Mendez fight. I think he said that one too. And you're just thinking, yeah, you did. I really find it hard to believe, as obsessed as he was, but not kind of keep an eye on each other, especially on fight day. Maybe didn't watch the whole card, but he definitely watched that fight.
I mean, that's your source of income, right? You got to be aware of things that are going on.
In fact, if that's what he thinks and he really missed that fight, then yeah, I kind of believe that he does. 522-2846. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also watch on Facebook /official MMA Junkie. And if you're watching on Facebook, you can watch on YouTube. Yeah,
No.
I've been hearing a lot of stuff like that. I don't think it would be him, honestly. I don't think I want to hear him call fights. He seems like a talented TV host, but without having any experience in calling fights at that level, I just don't think it's a good idea, man.
I
would prefer
mean,
one of the veterans that's covered the sport before.
And I can't think of his name right now for the life of me. It's killing me. He's called Strikeforce fights.
Mauro Ranallo?
No, not an actual MMA broadcast guy.
Gus Johnson?
Football. Gus Johnson, yes. Gus.
Now, see, he at least has done it.
Exactly.
And even though you didn't have a passionate call, he's exceptional in college basketball and in soccer, believe it or not. I haven't really followed him in other sports, but as far as MMA and boxing, I would prefer him over Mario Lopez.
Well, I agree, but that's my point. He's a guy with at least sports commentary, background. Mario Lopez, I think closest he got to sports is, again, playing AC Slater.
Yeah.
If they need somebody to replace Goldberg, there's, like I said, I would back the truck up tomorrow in a heartbeat. Chevalier, Steven Quadros. I mean, anybody, but ugh.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. All right. Thank you for the call. Chavello is one of the best out there. Rinaldo and Sean Wheelock, they've all done tremendous work over the years. I keep hearing Boss Rudin, but Boss is a color commentator, so you can't have him and Rogan. You'd have two color commentators. It'd be entertaining as hell, that's for sure. But if you were looking for a replacement for Rogan, well, then that's when you start looking at the Militiches of the world, the Boss Rudins of the world, the ones that are actual color commentators like the Brian Stans of the world. So don't get it twisted, play-by-play and color commentator. I've seen that a lot in forums, and folks, it just wouldn't work. All right, let's go on to Oreo in Alberta, Canada. What's up, Oreo? Oreo, you there? All right, I'm going to put him back
This is
on
how
hold.
every Oreo call starts off.
It
Have you noticed
does.
that?
It's like picking his nose or something. Showtime, what's going on, man? In Tennessee.
What's going on, fellas?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, guys, you got to realize this now. With who just purchased the UFC now, so they may be trying to get some more eyes on these shows with putting a guy like that on there. It doesn't really make sense to us with some of the other guys that are more qualified, but you got to look at it from that angle too. They may look at him as some little eye candy or something to get some people to tune in. So
well, maybe put him in some sort of a post or a hosting job, prior to the fights. You know what I mean? Something like that. Utilize them there, I guess. But your play-by-play and your color commentator has to be top-notch people that know exactly what's happening at every moment.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love you guys.
Or to it.
Hey, and from Jose's standpoint, if you look at some of those guys that Jose just beat Frankie Edgar, just basically beat him. I mean, no question on that. And you look at Jeremy Stevens, look at what Frankie Edgar did to him. So I can kind of see a top-notch Jose. If we get Jose motivated on the top of his game, I don't think Holloway stands a chance if we get 100% Jose Aldo coming in there to handle business. And I think Jose know he got to go through him if he ever want to sniff Conor McGregor jock strap. I know he has to go through this guy to get to him. So I think Jose is ready.
Yeah. Well,
That was a hell of a
all right. That's a good way of describing it. All right, thank you very much for the call. He needs to fight. So getting motivated, I mean, whatever motivates him, he says it's not money. I think his biggest motivation, talking about Jose Aldo, is running it back against Conor McGregor. So he's been wanting to go up to lightweight. I don't understand why he couldn't have just made that move. Now that he is the featherweight, and this title may come soon, if he really wants that, then defend against Holloway and go up and chase Conor McGregor. Because it looks like Ferguson and Khabib are going to eliminate each other. One's going to eliminate the other one's going to get to fight Conor. Mm-hmm. Or the other one may actually have to take another fight as well, believe it or not, because Conor may wait past May so that his girlfriend has – fiance? Girlfriend?
I just say
significant other has their kid. Then there's probably about a 1 month to maybe 2 month turnaround of him just being a dad at home and then starting a camp. You may not be even seeing Conor McGregor till later part of the summer. And I firmly believe it'll be Nate Diaz. So the winner of Khabib and Ferguson may still have to take yet another fight. Anyway, if Aldo wants to get into those sweepstakes, he needs to carve out a path that makes him a lightweight towards the end of 2017. What that means is if he gets past Holloway, then defend it maybe once. I wouldn't say twice because he's not an active fighter. And then just wait your turn for Conor McGregor because that gets you your payday. And two birds with one stone, you get to avenge a loss that's got to stick in his craw, man. It just has to. I don't know how he can retire.
That's the thing.
Would not have attempted to make a run at him. You know what I mean?
It seems like it bothers him so much that even if it doesn't happen in the octagon, he seems like he's at the point where if I see him, it's going to happen there.
Yeah. Oreo in Alberta, Canada. He's going to try it again. What's up, Oreo?
Hey, what's up? Sorry, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, what happens every time when you do this?
What's up?
How come
Hello?
every call
Yeah.
starts off with you not being able to hear us?
I don't know. I need to get a new phone, for real.
All right, what's up?
Yo, George, I used to play a little game called What a Little Birdie Told Me. Remember that game?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a thing. A little birdie told me that UFC 209, they're working on Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler 2, and Tyron and
Steven Thompson
for the main event. Yeah, that's what little birdie told me. I know you got connects. Any truth to this or what?
Well, for one, that makes sense. But I haven't heard that. But I don't think it's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I think Lawler and Diaz definitely make sense. Two big names who, by beating the other, immediately throw their name into the hat. Woodley and Thompson, Dana White is all over that. He wants that rematch. And I think that's about the appropriate time for two guys that went at it for 25 minutes, to break themselves down, decompress, and start another camp and get right back at it. I think Brooklyn's too soon. And frankly, as I say that, I mean, Holloway, if he does it, that's pretty amazing because he will have fought 1 month after Woodley and he'd be fighting 1 month before Woodley. Aldo would be okay, but yeah, we could try and follow up on that one.
Yeah, because isn't Jake Shields is on today, right?
He is.
Maybe you could run it by him because him and Nick are close, right? So
I'll ask him.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you. Good to hear from you.
Thanks.
David from Florida. What's up, David?
Hello.
How you doing, David?
Good. I love the show, man.
Thank you, sir.
My question for you guys is, if both Aldo win the division, would have
we can
Ricardo.
David, we can barely understand you. You're like skipping out on us.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, are you on a Bluetooth or something?
No.
Damn, man.
Yeah,
We're
going to have to put him back
Go
on
outside your crib or something. We'll put you on hold. We'll try in a few minutes. David from Florida. Florida's a big state, and I like that state. Remember when we went?
Yeah.
Traveled the whole state?
It's scary at times, though.
Yeah, definitely.
Alligators, snakes. Goes don't do that.
All right, I'll tell you what. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, the president of WSOF, the World Series of Fighting, will sit down with us, and we'll talk about their big card coming up at the end of the year. It's World Series of Fighting 34, Goze versus Zeffirino. And you should see what else they got going on. 3 other title fights. Plus, we'll try and circle back and talk to David from Florida. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. We'll be right back after this break.
Tell me what you really like. Baby, I can take my time.
Tell your boss to reschedule that meeting. Call your wife and tell her lunch is off. It's time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goze.
All right, we're back. We're going to talk some World Series of Fighting. World Series of Fighting 34 is coming up, and it's going to enter your life on December 31st. Great way to end a great year of mixed martial arts. That card's called Goze versus Zeferino. It's at the theater at Madison Square Garden in New York, New York. And the fight card can be seen on NBC. That's right, folks. The mothership. 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Justin Goze defends versus João Zeferino for the lightweight title. That's the main event. You also have champions John Fitch and Marlon Moraes defending on that main card. Prelims have David Branch defending against Lewis Taylor. Also, the return of Jared Rosholt, my homie, my 49ers homie.
Yeah.
He loves the team like I do, except we're having a miserable season. And I want to welcome to the show the president of World Series of Fighting. He's also a 6-time world kickboxing champion, Ray Sefo. Hi, Ray.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing?
Good. At least I get to kind of settle down this next couple of weeks. Wow. Probably this week. Next, before you know it, we'll be in New York. So,
yeah.
The last 3-4 weeks, I'd been to Monaco for a week, came back for a week, and then I was, in Croatia for a week. So, so now we're back for a weekend probably, and then off again next week.
What were you doing in Croatia?
Myself, Ernesto Hus, Bronco Sigatic, and a couple of other top K1 fighters were inducted into the International Martial Arts Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, so thank you. That was kind of, like I said before, and while I was getting interviewed there, in 2010 I was inducted into the to the Martial Arts Masters Hall of Fame, and then in 2011 I was inducted into the USA Martial Arts Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
But this one was a little bit more special, I think, because I was inducted with some of the greats that I had competed against.
Mm-hmm.
So it made it kind of a little bit more special. Although the other two were amazing too, because, as a young fighter or a kid, I never really dreamed or even thought for 1 second that I would be a Hall of Famer one day. And again, just like everything else in my life, it's just kind of like just rolled with the punches, if you will. And I'm just humbled and very blessed, and thank God every day.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, we've talked before how quickly his career could have just gone in a different direction. He could have been an actor.
Yeah.
So for him to be there on that stage, man, it's got to take your breath away.
Yeah, it really does. Like, while I was there, sometimes you got to, because it's surreal, because sometimes I got to pinch myself and go, did I just get inducted into this with, with the likes of these other great fighters? So, yeah, it's humbling, and I just put it down to just being very blessed and thankful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I'm starting to be thankful for, George? I'm starting to get very sentimental as well. I don't know if you noticed, but growing up, when it's the holidays time, you're used to Christmas Day, the big matchup in the NBA, right? That's what we all look for. It's usually two big powerhouses. Usually the Lakers are involved. The playoffs, right, in the NFL. There's certain things that you're used to hearing when it's time for the holidays. Now mixed martial arts organizations have kind of made that a staple as well, right?
Right.
You grab your coffee or whatever, your hot chocolate, the presents are out, the wrapping. But now it's the mixed martial arts organizations. And I start to think how awesome that is for us, because we know that means we get to watch a card of guys just going at it. But, God, it's got to kind of suck for them, right?
Yeah, they kind of miss their Christmas.
Everything on hold for us.
Exactly. You got UFC 207 on the 30th, and then you guys come back with WSOF 34. So a lot of combat sports to end the year.
For me, it's been my life. Even when I was competing in K1, many a times I fought New Year's Eve on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So this is nothing new to me. It's part of the way I live, and what I love to do, and my passion. And it's when you say it sucks for us, man, I couldn't think of anything better than to be cage side.
Yeah.
And watching the Warriors are fighting at Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, doesn't get any better than that.
When you said Croatia, Mirko Krokop just recently lost his opponent. It was going to be Vanderlei Silva at Ryzen.
Right, I heard.
Did you happen to
Actually,
run into him?
I heard.
Did anybody offer you that fight? Because I know you've always still had that itch.
No, one of these days I hope somebody offers me that fight
Against Crow Cop?
with a full camp.
Okay.
Like again, because I got an interview when I was there, because they were, obviously the media there were curious how that fight came about.
Yeah.
And I told them I got the call 4 weeks before the fight. I was in Brazil with Vitor Belfort when I was coaching Vitor Belfort at the time. So we were there for 2 weeks, and the promoter was like, Ray, it's his last fight, it's his final fight, and he's going to retire. But he's the only one that I didn't fight in K1.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he and I were supposed to fight each other before I fought Mark Hunt, and he pulled out. So I don't know exactly if Mark Hunt's opponent fell out too, or whatever, how that worked. But Mark and I ended up fighting each other, but it was supposed to be Crow Cop. And then, so he's the only fighter that I didn't fight in K1. And so when I got that phone call, and the promoter was like, "This is going to be his last fight," and then he's done, and I'm like, you know what, I'll take it. But I told the promoter, my only problem is that when I get back to the U.S. from Brazil, then the following week I was in Chicago with Evan Dunham. So I was in Brazil with Vitor Belfort for the UFC there. Evan Dunham in Chicago. The following week, myself and the team flew to Australia
Yeah, I remember
because
that
Martin
shit.
Kaplan was the headliner in
Elvis.
Australia. Yeah, exactly. So Jay Haran and myself, we get, of course, and the team, we get back to Las Vegas. 12 hours later, we're back on the plane, flying to Croatia.
That's
3 days
crazy.
later,
That's crazy.
3 days later, fight Crow Cop,
Yeah.
and went the distance with him. I thought I won the fight. Listen, it's hometown, but that's how it came. That's how it happened.
So you wouldn't have taken this one because it's too soon.
No, but it really kind of pissed me off because they lied to me about him being at his last fight. Because if they had said, well, we couldn't find an opponent, I'd be like, no, give me a good full camp and I'll fight him. But hey, that's how it is, and it is what it is. You put it down to experience and you move on.
All right. Goze was telling me if his life was at stake, and somebody told him, "I'm gonna walk into Extreme Couture right now," who's gonna be there for sure? He always says it's gonna be Ray Sefo.
Yeah, that's the
you're
one.
You're there more than anyone. So that's why we know you're active. That's why we know that itch, maybe it can be scratched.
Right.
So whether Fedor had needed an opponent at some point or the run back with Crow Cop, I don't know. We'd love to see you do it one more time or however many times you want to do it, man.
Yeah, and again, I'm not going to, I won't do those last-minute things anymore because, listen, I'm getting older and I don't have the time to just jump in there, and I'm not doing it for fun. I love competition and I love to be in there, but I want to make sure that if an offer came about, it would be a full camp. Otherwise, I wouldn't even worry about it.
Let's talk about WSOF 34 on December 31st. 4 title fights. That's how strong you guys wanted to come into the Big Apple.
WSOF NYC.
WSOF. Yeah, that's the hashtag. WSOF
Exactly.
So you guys are skipping the 34 number?
No. It's going to be 34.
Okay,
it is
the
34,
hashtag's
but the hashtag is, exactly.
Yeah. Probably your biggest star. No disrespect to Marlon Moraes. But Justin Gaethje, your lightweight champion with so many title defenses. He's undefeated. He's exciting. He's the author of many highlights.
Right.
He's in your main event against
that's
João
why his
Zeferino.
nickname is the highlight reel.
Yeah.
The highlight kid. Listen, I'm excited on so many different levels. One, Versus Fighting gets to be at the Garden. The UFC is the first MMA company there. Fighters there. And so rightful it should be, right? And so for Versus Fighting to be at the Garden, it's just exciting. Again, it's like being a Hall of Famer. I never, in my wildest dream, thought when I started Versus Fighting, I never thought the Garden was possible. Now we're at the Garden. How exciting is that?
Very.
So on that level, then we have some of our biggest stars in Versus Fighting on that fight card. 4 world titles. Justin Gaethje, Marlon Moraes, David Branch,
Fitchy.
John Fitch,
Yep.
Jake Shields. I mean, the list goes on. But just to kind of bring you up to date as well, Sefrino is no longer the opponent for Justin Gaethje.
Really?
That is correct. He broke his hand.
Oh, man.
And so Firmino is the only guy that put up his hand and said he'll step in and take that fight.
When did this happen?
This happened literally in the last couple of days.
Oh, wow. Luis Firmino.
Yeah.
Will be
I
stepping
thought
up.
you guys are on.
It makes sense, though. I wouldn't put up my hand, would you?
Well, yeah. I wouldn't put my hand up
Gaethje's a
either against
monster.
Justin Gaethje.
Well,
Wow,
yeah.
Luis Firmino. Okay, so he's going against Justin Gaethje.
Right,
All
exactly. So that's the headliner now.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
Let me ask you a question about Justin Gaethje. He said this on our show, that he doesn't have the best technique at throwing the leg kicks, yet he's one of the most effective guys with it. You being so good at that technique, can you kind of explain how he's able to do that?
Well, I think some of these guys forget that in mixed martial arts you can leg kick as well. And the reason why I say forget is because they're so used to being punched and maybe high kicks and whatever that they don't even leg check, which is again, listen, you gotta check leg kicks, otherwise it doesn't matter how bad it's thrown, but if it lands on. I was watching what was it was Joe Rogan's podcast, and his guest was Shannon Briggs. Shannon Briggs? Yes. And of course Shannon, the boxer. Of course Shannon fought in K1.
Yeah, he told
one
a funny
time.
story.
And he talked about that story. And of course, myself and Peter Ertz's name, I think Jerome LeBanner, Nelson Hoos, Mike Bernardo's names were in that mix. And his management team turned that fight down, those fights down. So they settled with big Tom Erickson. And Tom
For K1?
Right. So
the wrestler?
So Tom leg kicks Shannon, and Shannon even says that on the show that when he felt that, he was like, "What?" So from a guy that's never taken a leg kick, understands how. So that's what I'm saying. Like you got to check leg kicks no matter what. Justin Gaethje is everything he does, he throws to the wind. So even if he wasn't throwing a good technique, if it lands, you're gonna feel it. You know what I mean?
So this was released 3 hours ago. I was starting to feel like a jackass. You said 3 days. 3 days maybe behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes in terms of like trying to make it happen.
Yeah, I guess I could have checked on it this morning. But yeah, this has been.
I was gonna say you guys are MMA media here.
I know. We're getting clowned over here. All right, in the co-main event, let's see. The other title fights are John Fitch versus Jake Shields. People have wanted to see that fight for a long time. They finally get to do it. Fitch was very proud of winning his first world title. We saw him there. He said it was a promise he wanted to keep for his dad. And, of course, Jake Shields will be making a return. He hasn't fought since the Husamar fight.
Right. But he has been very active in
submission
terms of
grappling.
grappling and whatnot.
And that guy's got a lot of wins. In fact, he's got a win over Tyron Woodley, the current UFC welterweight champion. Damian Maia, one of their top contenders. So that guy's Dan Henderson. He's been around the block.
What exactly? And that's I was asked this in one interview on Saturday actually. And which fight am I most looking for? I'm looking forward to every fight on that card. It's like Yushin Okami is fighting Paul Bradley. You know what I mean? Undefeated champion Andre Harrison is on the card. You know what I mean?
He is?
Yeah.
Oh, the Bull from New York.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, the whole card is stacked, and that's what's exciting.
Yeah, he is. Shit.
But I got to say, George, what's going on here?
I know.
This is the first time. You're lacking a little bit.
I know.
We're loopy from the trip.
I know who he is, too. He used to hold the title at Titan.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I followed him. He's probably like a top 15, top 20 guy.
Right.
He's on an incredible win streak. We've had him on the show many times, so that's great.
Yeah, he's, 14-0, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to say, the fight that I'm most kind of looking forward to is John Fitch and Jake Shields. It's because these two names are icons in the sport. They've fought everybody. They've been in Strikeforce. They've been in the UFC.
They've been in the same gym.
Right.
They used to both be AKA.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, listen, I'm just fortunate and proud that we're able to put that fight on. You know what I mean? And so, again, it's a big fight. It's the co-main event, and it's on NBC.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that fight just started with them grappling, just on the floor. Just put them on the floor because I want to see what happens.
Just to
in
see
that.
who's the best. They have. I think they have grappled.
They have.
And I think Shields got him. And it wasn't domination.
But
a
lot
has
changed since then.
A lot has changed
Right.
since then, yeah.
What
sure.
you know, and John has worked a lot on this. You know, as he's been training. Actually, I think half of his camp he's trained. He's back at AKA. And you know, Javier Mendes is a great. He's an amazing coach. He's got a great camp out there with so many champions out there. But yeah, it's you know, John Fitch is kind of also focused on his stand-up with the kickboxing and whatnot. So I think it's going to be an exciting fight because either they're going to cancel each other out from taking each other down, so which means now they're going to throw, or they're going to grapple and you know be an exciting grappling match. So one way or the other, I'm so excited to see that fight.
Marlon Moraes, another one of your great champions, defends his belt. He's had
Right.
a lot of title defenses, a lot of
Right.
highlights. I imagine that behind the scenes, NBC, the suits, the ones that pay attention, they got to have their personal favorites. He's got to be one of them.
Oh yeah, 100%. Marlon is definitely one of NBC's favorites. Marlon never disappoints. I mean, Marlon is just an amazing talent, and you know, again, Marlon's Marlon. You know what I mean? He's one of these guys that you just know. Marlon's kind of like a Jose Aldo. You put him out there, you know it's going to be an exciting fight, no matter what, right? So that's Marlon. Marlon is, you know, he's a star. Can't say anything other than the fact that this guy, and what I love most about Marlon is the fact that he knows how to adapt within the fight. He knows, because that's one thing that fighters sometimes don't do is adapt. Because if you can't adapt within, because the fight may change. For example, when Marlon fought Hill the first time, Hill broke his nose in the first minute or two in that first round. But, you know, he adjusted, put his nose back throughout the round, and as the fight went on, he was able to pick him apart. So, again, that's, you know, Marlon is very good at adjusting and adapting to the fight as the fight goes on.
What's the worst part of a broken nose in the middle of a fight? Is it just as simple as the breathing, or is there anything else? How excruciating can the pain be, or do you just see past that?
Well, I've never broken my nose, so I couldn't really ever.
Okay.
So I couldn't really say exactly, but I would assume the breathing, and of course the pain of if it gets hit again, because we know, you know, you even in sparring, I mean, like a little touch, and it might be just from a funny angle. And you feel that, you know, your eyes water up. So I can just imagine the pain of it all when it's actually broken and then someone's punching you at 100 miles an hour.
And I think
I wouldn't want to feel that.
The blood doesn't always come out through here. It goes into the back of your mouth. You start to choke on blood, too.
That's correct.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's right, too.
You ever had a broken orbital bone?
No.
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 Jaw?
No.
Damn. Head movement over here. I like it.
Yep.
Or just a tough exterior. Is that what it is, Ray? Or do you put your head down? I know that's what
a
Justin
lot
Gaethje
of-
does. He
a
puts
lot
his
of-
head down.
Yeah, tough exterior. A mixture of all that. You know, and
Rolling with the punches?
Well, you know, I had to when I was 5, 6 years old. You know, my mother would throw brooms, shoes, you know, forks, whatever, bottles of water. So you got to dodge and move.
Right. Do you prefer rolling with punches, or do you prefer head movement, counter? You know, like what's been like your first defense, I guess, to when you know someone's squaring up and you can kind of predict the combo that's coming at you?
I like to kind of just sit within the pocket and kind of just just a little roll enough where it takes a little bit of off, and then because I like to counter off on the inside like that as well. So, yeah, you roll with the punches or you slip it. You know what I mean? But I generally like to kind of have them commit to that shot where I can just sit on it, and I know once I feel that they're right here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because when you throw a shot and it's never a 100% commitment to it, I won't feel it as much at all. So it means that they're probably trying to move or trying to set something else up. But so generally, I like to kind of sit right in the pocket and throw.
How did you learn to keep your eyes open in the pocket? Experience, or was there a technique or an exercise?
It was experience. It kind of just came with getting punched in your face the first time. You go, okay, I got to keep my eyes open. So I kind of just, bit down and went with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of people that look up and let a basketball hit them on the forehead? I heard some boxing coaches have utilized that before.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, but
it's true.
What, to drop a basketball?
No. You just hold the ball here, and then as it comes down, the first couple times you'll probably blink, but you just hold it from here. It falls, and you just try and keep your eyes open as it comes to get used to something coming at you and not flinching, not blinking.
Never heard of that. But what I do with my guys that kind of blinks is I'll just have a 16 or 20 or 18 ounce glove on my hand, and I'll just touch try to keep their eyes open right here, which is more realistic to, the fight game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I think that's probably better than dropping a basketball on your head. But anyway, I mean, everybody has their own methods, I guess.
Yeah. No, I heard that too, and I go, what? But I don't know. Who knows what's true? People are always moving to tennis balls, and
there's a lot of a lot of people out there pretend that they think they're coaches, and then they come up with these different methods that makes them kind of different, but really is stupid.
Flipping tires, using the axe. You do that one?
Yeah, that's all part of strength and conditioning. Yeah, I agree with.
But I don't
that.
see as much flipping tires as I used to. Remember altitude rooms, 9,000 feet. I don't see as much as I used to with that one either.
Training mask.
You know what? We had one guy that trained in our gym for a little period of time with a mask on.
The training mask?
Right. I've never tried one. I don't think I'll ever try one, but then I'm old school. You know what I mean? Like, me, it's about training hard and training smart. Mm-hmm. And all these other gadgets, it's just gimmicks. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing beats hard work.
Tell us about the meet and greet that you're going to have.
Yeah, Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture. Look at you guys.
Yeah. I mean, we're very, I saw Randy last night. Again, these are things that it kind of just fall together. That's, again, another reason why, because of all these little things that's just kind of seem to fall in place. And the likes of Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell, and Kayla Harrison, who's going to be there with myself.
2-time gold medalist.
Exactly. I mean, she's a superstar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so they're going to be there signing autographs, meeting the fans. Again, it's like I was saying earlier, where the UFC went there last month, and New York is just getting this, holiday, presents or having us there for New Year's Eve and just continue MMA, because New York's been waiting for pro MMA to be there for such a long time, and so back to back, November they had the UFC, in December they have Worlds of Fighting,
and when the event's over, it's New Year's Eve,
right?
In Times Square,
right? Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a home run, man.
Right, exactly. I mean, like we and on the commercial, it's going to be the biggest party in New York City. 6
Eastern time. So 6 fights on big networks, and of course The big one being NBC, 4 p.m. Eastern Time with 3 title fights. Congratulations, man. You guys put together a splendid card.
Thank you. Yeah, no, the team has worked very hard. Bruce and Carlos and Kevin, Melissa, Cindy, my man, I was going to say Howard, but Antonio, and Denise. I mean, everybody at the team, Sean, Paul, Chris, everybody. The whole team have come together and put on a great card. And so I'm very thankful that we have this amazing team that really just knuckle down and do the work.
Check it out, folks, on December 31st on Big NBC, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's Ray Sefo. You can follow him on Twitter at Sugar Ray Sefo. We are going to have John Fitch and Jake Shields in the next hour. However, the SiriusXM audience is going to get busted open up next. And, hey, soccer fans, don't miss a special edition of Midweek Premier League Football as Everton entertains second-place Arsenal. Coverage begins today at 2:45 Eastern on SiriusXM FC 85 and on the SiriusXM app. Ray, thanks very much for stopping by. We look forward to your card on December 31st.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. Remember, SiriusXM audience, Busted Open coming up next. And if you want to catch the second hour of the show, go to Facebook.com/official MMA Junkie or YouTube.com/MMA Junkie video. We'll be right back. Las Vegas. All right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. You know, I used to despise that song.
You did?
30 years ago when it came out, 25 years ago. But hanging back, haven't heard it in a long time. It's not so bad. And the reason I give it a pass is because I was always a big Phil Collins fan. It's just the studio. I didn't know what the fuck it was.
I still don't know
what
it
it
means
meant.
or what.
I know he said it a lot, and I wasn't sure that I was down with it. But yeah, boy, man, you hear these fighters talk about slapping people.
Yeah,
I just start to think.
I don't want to be on the other end of that.
Mind your P's and Q's, because I definitely don't want to be on the receiving end of a slap from some of these monsters. They're not playing, that's for sure. I want to thank Ray Sefo for joining us here on the show. Shout out to Greg S. for getting that done for us. Always fun to have the president of WSOF in town here, or yeah, he lives in town, but having him here in studio to talk about his organization, because I don't think there's anybody any more passionate about WSOF than that guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's give it another shot here. Let's take some phone calls. David from Florida will lead things off. We also got Hal from Chicago, Marco from Waco. They're on hold. If you want to join the party, it's 866-522-2846. And we will be joined by John Fitch first, and then Jake Shields. Fitch will come on at 2:20 p.m. Eastern, 11:20 a.m. Pacific. Jake Shields, 2:40 p.m. Eastern, 11:40 a.m. Pacific. Let's get going here with David from Florida. What's up, David?
How you guys doing?
Good. Hey, we can hear you perfect now.
That's good. My question for you guys is, if you guys think that if Jose Aldo wins against Max Holloway, would it kill the featherweight division? Because he would have beaten everybody in the top 5. So with Max Holloway, if he wins, at least there's some new matchups. But if Jose wins, I mean, that pretty much, he cleared out the division other than Conor.
That's a great question. And you're right. I think that would be the case. With the had Du Ho Choi won the other night, then I think one could say, okay, he still has to fight Choi. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen. Swanson eliminated him. So at that point, we're kind of left with replays.
But Swanson can get a little bit of a pass because his was like 8 seconds and it was in the WEC.
It was a long time ago.
But you're right. For the most part, everything's been kind of we've seen it.
And Holloway eliminated Pettis, and I heard David say Yair Rodriguez, but he still has Penn ahead of him. And I don't know that he's there yet. Same thing you could say for Mirsad Bektik, Brian Ortega. Those are 2 undefeated fighters, but they still lack those top 10, top 5 wins that get you to that dance. So it wouldn't be automatic. It'd be kind of like a stretch, David, but you could still run it. The UFC figures out ways to run it. However, would the motivation be there from Jose to want to defend it when bigger paydays and a revenge await him at 55, a division he's wanted to go to? That's the question. So we'll see. First, he's got to get past the Holloway. If Holloway wins, then it opens things up. Hell, the first thing that one could consider is the rematch. And then after that, all these other fighters. I don't know in what order they would go, but they didn't give it to Jose the first time. It'd be hard to not give it to him the second time without completely pissing him off.
And I also got another one for you guys.
All right.
Kind of putting you in the spot, but do you guys think that Jake Shields and John Finch, how would they do in the UFC? Do you think they could be in the top 5, or do you think they wouldn't be able to hang up there? Because I think so. Jake Shields beat Tyron Woodley, Maya, and those are the top guys right now. So I think they would. But what do you guys think?
I think the way that Jake Shields beat Tyron Woodley, he could easily do again. That same type of style. John Fitch, just seeing Damian Maia dominate him the way he did, I think it may be a little bit more difficult. There's just killers in that division.
Yeah, see, the thing is,
they both lack the striking game, so they're a little behind there on
Fitch
some of
is
the
more
guys at the
likely to
top.
get you to the ground, but Jake Shields, if he gets you to the ground, is more likely to finish you. Neither guy is really going to be a threat to most of the welterweights in the striking department, but they're going to threaten from the ground. I think Shields has just probably accomplished a little bit more. There's just a little more proof in that pudding, including the Woodley win. So I guess I'd have to choose him. But you know what? On December 31st, John Fitch may shut us all up if he gets past Jake Shields, because he's got that scoreboard. Hey, man, thanks for calling in, David. We really appreciate it, and you sounded very clear on the second time, so thanks for your patience, brother. We got to move on. We got to go to Hal in Chicago. What's going on, Hal?
Am I clear?
Yes.
You hear me clear?
Yeah.
Sage, Northcutt, Mickey Gall. You guys talked about this yet?
No, not really.
Man, I have yet to see one person pick Sage. The guy's a slight dog. And everybody's talking about Mickey Gall's ground game. He's going to get Sage, LOL at Sage, blah, blah. I don't understand it, man. The guy has like 3 wins. One against a journalist and another against a 40-year-old WWE guy who's never fought.
Mm-hmm.
So what? I don't understand this. I mean, Sage, you can say what you want. Barbarina has proven he's no chump. He just beat Worley Alves. Sage has actually fought real professionals and is a lifelong martial artist, has been competing since he was 3 or whatever. I don't see it, man. I see a Sage Northcutt decision or a late knockout after Mickey Gall sees what it's like to take a kick to the liver.
I like the way you presented your case, and I'll tell you what, Sage's ground game, I was starting to have doubts about it. And in the last fight, even though he didn't remind me of a submission wizard per se, I now realize that he has a little more technique and knowledge than I thought he might have. I thought he was just going to be a survivor. But his last fight showed me that he's improving. I think the Gall train is maybe because even though he didn't fight anywhere near upper echelon guys, he just ran through them. And then on the reality show, I think it was an RFA show, I can't remember which one he came from, he did work there. So I guess his mouth, his destruction, his path of destruction, maybe that's what people have given him credit for. I mean, I picked him, so I don't know why. I
did as well.
I'm trying to answer the question why I did it, and I guess maybe I may have been one of those that fell for that too. But Sage is no joke, man. If they just stand, Sage gets down. But the thing about Sage is, Gall to me looks like a fighter, all right? Like he's putting it all out there to fight, and it's going to hurt him, and he's not going to be able to sleep for days if he loses. Whereas Sage strikes me as a gifted, athletic fighter who, if he loses, oh, well, that smile's still going to be on. We're still going to open presents. We're still going to, life's going to be lovely. You know what I mean? And sometimes I like to ride with the ones that bleed and sweat and cry in the gym and put it all out there. And I think Gall has a little bit more of that.
I think the sport is just what have you done for me lately? And I think people reside in that area.
Yeah, so there you have
That's
it.
all it is, but go ahead, man. Please keep betting Gall, everybody. I'll take plus odds.
I will give.
Who's got a better record.
I will give Matt Erickson his props. I think he went with Northcutt, right, Goze?
I think so.
Yeah,
but that might be because he's trying to make up some points.
It could be, man. It's Matt Erickson and Ben Folks coming down to the wire. Matt's down 2 fights, and there's only 9 fights to pick from. 4 on the UFC on Fox 22 card, and 5 on the UFC 207 card. Otherwise, Ben will be the new champion at MMA Junkie, following champions Mike Bond in 2014 and Dan Stupp in 2015. So, yeah, Goze looks like he may be secretly rooting for Matt.
Well, Folks is going to come out like King Mo with a crown, dancing. I can't deal with a year of that.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, brother. See ya.
Later.
Let's see here. Randy Fiel saying, what's up, guys, on the Facebook chat. What's up? Justin Michael Sumter. You know, if I had seen this, I would have passed that on to Ray Sefo. He says the next time the WSOF is in Foxwoods in Connecticut to give him a shot. Says he's a hungry middleweight waiting for the call. So, Justin, you can always call into the show, man. 866-522-2846. We'll let you talk to a lot of the in-studio guests, especially if you just clear it through our producer, Danny, and he lets us know. We can make that happen. Jeffrey Randall says, Ray, do you ever have plans to come to Columbus, Cincinnati, Ohio, or possibly Indianapolis, Indiana? I can answer that question for you, Jeffrey. When we had Carlos Silva on Goze, he said I read his mind because I told him I feel like a lot of college campuses may be the way to go.
Yeah.
Because kids
I remember that.
in that demographic are looking for stuff to do after the football game, after the basketball game. And he said what he was thinking was a lot of their champions have backgrounds, from wrestling or other athletic competition.
Purdue, John Fitch, right?
John Fitch went to Purdue, and the one he pointed, and the reason I'm answering this is because he mentioned Columbus or Cincinnati. Lance Palmer went to Ohio State. He's their featherweight champion, and of course Ohio State, rich in sports tradition, his sports history. It sounded like that might be a stop for them down the road, Columbus, Ohio, but that's something you can't really quote me on, but it's something Silva said. It's just we don't know if it's in the pipeline yet. All right, let's go back to the phone calls. Marco from Waco. What's going on, man?
Marco from Waco. ¿Qué pasa, dudes?
How you doing?
Hey, you take a look at the USC picture of Northcutt and Mickey Gold. Those two dudes look like they should be on a Calvin Klein commercial, dude.
I didn't look that closely, Marco. I got to be honest with you.
It looks
but,
like a Twilight DVD or something.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get bored. Hey, I wanted to talk about, Mike Perry, man. I don't know how to feel about the dude. I mean, to some people, he come out kind of douchey. He got the controversy with the corner, with the racial slurs. But there is one undeniable thing that the guy can crack, man. He can fight.
Yeah.
And he's been featured in the freaking Big Fox this weekend. A little bit of enter the new and out with the old because, like, most of the, except for Faber and Pickett, they're all, like, newcomers, man. Jovan, Perry, and then, of course, Northcutt, Sage, and Page, and the Karate Hottie. So, I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about Mike Perry, but I want the guy to win because he's entertaining either way, man. I'll leave you guys. Catch you next time.
I wouldn't bet this card at all, man. There's a lot of fights that can go either way.
As far as Perry's concerned, whatever the corner said, I don't know what the end result was as far as, did he part ways with someone or let the corner know that that's just not going to fly in his camp? Was there an apology? I was just thinking about this. There's so much stuff that happens in our sport, and I guess if you're going to be a hardcore and a junkie like us, maybe you have to actually read every single article. But I think I passed on this guy because I hear a lot of stuff on social media as far as, like, he's douchey, he's this, he's that, whatever. I will say what I've seen out of him in the octagon, he looks pretty tough for sure. As far as all that other stuff, I just haven't kept up on it enough to follow and see what's the end result. Does he has he apologized for any actions or anything that they say he's represented in the past? I don't know. All I know is he's fighting Alan Jouban, and I doubted that guy a few times. I thought, he was the GQ guy, the model guy, and that he was just going to ride this out and fight and maybe go 500 and bail. But he's actually turned out to be a pretty damn good fighter.
He's a tough fighter, but,
yeah.
but Perry's no joke, man.
I know.
So when I turned in my picks, I just went with a little bit more experience, and I ended up going with Jouban.
So did I. But I know that he's got his hands full.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Who else did you go with? Did you go with Van Zandt or Watterson?
I did. I went with Paige Van Zandt. I think Michelle Watterson's a veteran, and she's got great skills, but I like Paige's aggression. It never stops.
Right.
And sometimes you'll see the Karate Hottie get stuck playing defense a lot, and I think Paige can kind of put her on her back and keep her there.
Mm-hmm. I think I went with Watterson. I'll have to check. I've doubted her before coming off layoffs, and she still can fight.
Her
very
fight
athletic,
with,
and seems to have a decent fight IQ.
With Jessica Penne was one of the best female fights I've ever seen. That was so much fun.
That was for the atomweight title. I think Watterson defeated Penne for the 105 title in Invicta back in like 2013. That was a great fight. I picked Faber over Pickett. It's no disrespect to Pickett, but I just think that Faber, with the exception of Jimmy Rivera, I've pretty much always been right when it comes to Faber fights, except for the WEC days. I thought he was going to beat Mike Brown the first time.
A lot of fights.
Yeah, no, but for the most part, I got a good beat on. He can pretty much beat everyone except the champ, and I don't mean it to disrespect him, but he was just fighting guys that, like Barra when he hadn't lost in 10 years and 30 fights. Cruz, Cruz, I had a feeling could not only take down the rematch, but also the trilogy. Who was the other one you said?
Aldo.
Edgar, Aldo. You see what I'm saying? There was just some of those athletic guys, but every other time I took him, and I thought he'd get Rivera, but he didn't. But I do think he'll get Pickett. I think he'll be too much for Pickett, and in his farewell fight in Sacramento, it's going to be a tough guy to beat.
I want to see I like when the fighters leave their gloves in the cage. Hope he does that.
Yeah, so do I. 866-522-2846. Even though we have two guests coming up, we're going to have some pockets to fill, so if you want to get in the queue, do it. It's 866-522-2846. Once again, this Facebook Live is new to our show, so thanks to everyone who's helped us get it underway. Chris Perrone at the top, Dan Stupp for giving us the approval, Kenny Hathaway, the beast that hooks stuff up here behind the scenes and has been making it run seamless for the most part. If there's a hiccup with the live feed, I think it's just basically internet problems that can happen with anything, with any type of show out there. We're at the Mandalay Bay, and I know you guys give me a hard time, but sometimes we're sharing bandwidth is what it boils down to.
With a lot of people.
Yeah. So, count on it. Facebook.com/official MMA Junkie. And on YouTube, if that helps you out, some people are telling me, well, they block Facebook at work. But YouTube, you can maybe get it on the app. It's youtube.com MMA Junkie Video. So subscribe there. If you are a SiriusXM user, we are live on SiriusXM Rush 93, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific for the first hour. Both hours are recorded, and both hours are presented later on as a, in podcast form. You can say an MP3 file that gets uploaded, and then it shoots out to Stitcher and iTunes, and it's everywhere. So if that's the way you prefer to listen to the show as well, you got the on-demand feature with SiriusXM, or you can go to iTunes or Stitcher and subscribe there. All right. Looks like Danny's working on getting our guest in. One last thing goes, do you think Holloway and Aldo does happen at UFC 208 in Brooklyn, or you think it's just too soon?
I don't think it'll happen on that card, but it definitely happens. I mean, they just barely miss out on it, in my opinion.
Yep. And like Ray Sefo said, Luis Buscape Firmino has replaced an injured João Zeffirino in the main event against undefeated Justin the Highlight Gaethje, New Year's Eve at the theater at Madison Square Garden. WSOF 34, hashtag WSOF NYC. Now, Monkey Radio, you're on.
Wow, that's really either, but wow, I didn't know that. You guys just made me really more excited about the fights coming up.
It's stacked, man. 4 champions are defending their belts in NYC on New Year's Eve. Shit, it don't get better than that. It's one hell of a day and night there.
Yeah.
John, we're hearing that did you move back to San Jose, or you just camping in San Jose, or what's your status?
We kind of, the hand was kind of forced with the cancellation of the November card. Financially, I just couldn't swing it. My wife had to get a job, so we had to move.
Oh, okay. So you're back permanently in San Jose?
Until we can't afford to be here anymore and have to go somewhere else.
Because I remember San Jose was super expensive, and I think Vegas was where you were able to, I guess, cut costs, right?
Yeah, but my wife wasn't working.
I see.
But in order for her to get a job, we had to come back.
Oh, all right. Well, tell us, how I guess is the gym. You've been out here for like a couple years, 3 years or so. How was it? Is it all still same routine, or has the gym routine changed?
It's changed a little bit, which I like. It's a little less banging heads every day, and there's a lot more drilling and I think the sport itself has evolved. 10 years ago, 14 years ago when we started, it was just show up and beat the crap out of each other. And now there's quite a bit more technique and thoughtfulness put into the training, and it's a lot better.
Mm-hmm. That's great. How many of your training partners are still there from when you were there before moving to Vegas?
Not as many, but there are some younger guys, and then there are guys who are still around who don't even compete really much anymore.
Right.
But they coach and they teach, and they're at other gyms in the area. And I can call on them, and they'll come in to help out.
It's not so new anymore, but we know that they built a new AKA gym. Were you there when that happened, or are you at the new one, and when you were there, you were at the old one?
No. Yeah, I was here during the move when everything shifted over to the new gym, the bigger gym. Yeah.
Pretty state of the art over there, man. That kicks ass.
Yeah, it's big. It's just I've been used to the nice weather, kind of nice training weather in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's a little bit chilly here, so I gotta take an extra 15-20 minutes to warm up, and I gotta wear long sleeves and stuff like that when we're training. So it's just minor adjustments to make sure I don't get sick or get hurt. So.
You think you'll ever be back in Vegas, or is that done?
I don't know. I had a really good thing with over at One Kicks. I think he's a great coach. He's going to actually come out here next week and stay and train me up here for a week, my last week of hard training. Anything is possible, but my wife really wanted to be near family, and the work she's doing, she's doing here. So it's a good situation because we got a lot of friends, a lot of family, a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I just stress about the money sometimes. Having to feed people puts a lot of extra pressure on you.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2 kids.
2 kids. Okay. Another thing I wanted to ask you was,
2 monsters, and they're already eating their own chicken breast. So
there you go.
Yeah, the prices start adding up. We used to have to go to Costco like once a month. Now we're every 2 weeks. I think it's not going to be long till we have to go every weekend.
World Series of Fighting welterweight champion John Fitch joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio. He'll be defending his title against Jake Shields at World Series of Fighting 34, Goze versus Firmino. One last thing here, and then I'll turn it over to Goze. Jake Shields, I know, has trained at AKA before. Was he ever really a member of the team, or was he just a guy that came in frequently? And would you even ever refer to him as a one-time training partner?
Him and Gil, training partner, yeah. Him and Gilbert used to come in a lot because they had a smaller crew and they didn't have guys always to push them the way that we did. So they would come down to wrestle or to spar sometimes when they had fights coming on. Jake trained with us a lot when he was getting ready to fight Henderson, I think, back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we know each other pretty well. We've trained a lot together. I've got no ill feelings towards him anyway. Him and his crew, they're good guys, but it's the business, and I got money to make.
Right. All right, Goze, what do you have for John Fitch?
John, when you were out here at One Kick Knicks, all of your training partners at some point when they were on our show mentioned the difference that you made in their game, coming over and showing them stuff. Could you maybe share with us the difference that one of them made in your game?
Man, Nick's guys are really fast and they're amazing strikers. So, just my reaction and my defense had to get really good because if I didn't, I was going to get hurt. So, you're not going to get a clean punch on me. You're not going to get an easy kick because, Chidi Njokuana and Josh, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He fights kick. He's a stand-up fighter. But his guys, they're just really good. And they just raised my stand-up game to another level, especially defensive-wise because I had to protect myself. Otherwise, I was going to get busted up.
Both you and Jake are very tactical fighters. Do you expect any kind of feeling out process in this fight, or are you guys going to get right at it?
We're probably just going to go right at it, I think. We've been in this game a long time. I think we know what we want to do. We know how to fight. We've been there, 100 times before. So I wouldn't expect much of a feeling out process. We're just probably going to get right to the fight.
Mm-hmm. And I know it happened many years ago, but you guys have grappled. When you compete, is there ever?
Yeah, we've had 2 matches.
Yeah, and so does those competitive juices still carry over to years later, an MMA fight? Of just wanting to even the score.
Grappling to me is like practice. I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Win or loss, if I'm getting paid a flat fee to go grapple somebody, it's more fun than anything. Fighting's different. There's more money on the line. There's more prestige. The grappling matches were things that I didn't really even train for. They were just a Saturday practice for me.
Mm-hmm. After this fight, is the goal to stay active? Do you ever feel like you could? You're 38 years old now. We've been covering you for about 10 years.
Absolutely. I've been trying to stay active for a long time, but I can only get fights about every 9 months, just because that's the way the contracts and the promotion is working right now. I would love to fight 4 times a year. I'd probably have made enough money and been able to retire already if I could fight the pace that I wanted to. But we're limited with how much we can fight because of the way the system of MMA works today.
And there's no way you could take can you take submission grappling seems to be in vogue for sure. Is that something that interests you? Because now you're not, now you're not fighting. I think the promotion might be a little bit more lax and allow you to go do that.
Yeah, that's something I would be interested in. But again, my specialty is not submission grappling. I'm punch you in the face grappling. I'd rather beat you up than submit you.
Gotcha.
I'd rather elbow you in the face and punch you for 25 minutes than submit you in the first minute.
Would you want to take a coaching role at AKA the same way you were taking while you were at One Kick Knicks, just to generate more money in between fights?
Possibly. It's never been something that's offered, but possibly. I do enjoy the time I have, without any responsibilities right now, because I don't have to worry about training other guys. I just have to worry about myself, and it's been a while since I've had that. So it's kind of nice, but I do like coaching. I like sharing my knowledge, and I'm a teacher at heart. It's hard for me not to help people.
Winning that world title meant a lot to you. I remember you saying that it was something that you had promised your father. If I'm not mistaken, you'd be a world champion. Excuse me?
It completes me.
Yeah. And does he have a name?
The belt?
The belt, yeah.
No, I haven't named the belt.
All right. How about Ernie? That's a good one, right, Goze?
It's just
Ernie?
It's just my baby.
Ernie. Nelson?
I like Brutus.
Brutus, that's a good one, too. I guess what I wanted to ask you was, what goals do you have left now, as you start to approach 40 and you've put so much time into the sport? You got your world title, but is it title defenses? Is it skins on the wall, particular fighters or different weight classes? What's left?
Yeah, I would like to collect more belts, defend belts. I just want to be great. I want to be remembered as great. I want everything I do and touch to be thought of and remembered as great. So winning fights, beating people up, that's the driving force. One of the biggest driving forces I have right now is changing how the sport works, because it's not a legitimate sport. It doesn't follow the structure of other legitimate sports. So that's one of the big fights I'm involved with. Muhammad Ali Act, Ascension Act, it's a big part of it, and that's a big part of the thing we're doing right now. We pass that through next year, and then I could be fighting for multiple titles in different organizations.
Were you out there with Nate Quarry and Randy Couture last week?
I was not, because I'm training for this fight, but we will be sending more. We will be sending more fighters regularly, because we're basically doing our own lobbying. We don't have the money that the UFC has to pay other people to lobby. So we are lobbying ourselves, and it's much more receptive for us as athletes to go out there and lobby for ourselves than somebody paying money to have somebody else do it.
I know the MMAjunkie won't affect you, because it's an association geared towards the rights of the UFC fighters. But as somebody that's watching from a distance, what did you think of their announcement, and what do you think of the MMAjunkie overall?
It's very troubling that Bjorn publicly stated he plans to settle the class action lawsuit, which would undercut, who knows, hundreds of millions of dollars of money that should be recovered to fighters that fought for the UFC in order to make a profit for himself. That was his public statements talking about that. We have no intention of settling. We need the contracts to change. Any fighter who fought for the UFC from 2010 to today is a part of this class action lawsuit. Every single one of those guys are eligible to be paid the recovery of damages. If he's planning to try to recruit guys in order to undercut and settle, he's stealing millions of dollars from these guys.
And one last thing here. The class action lawsuit's probably 2-3 years old now, if I'm not mistaken. And they usually say it takes like 12 to 18 months, and then you get into the discovery phase, which I believe it did. Have you had access to see?
We are starting depositions.
Okay. And have you had access to see those types of financials yet?
We're moving along well. It's crazy when people will get the chance to see this stuff. I can't talk anything about it, but hopefully the truth comes out and everybody will see what's going on.
How long do you think something like this may take until it comes to an end?
A year and a half, 2 years.
Wow.
Unless Bjorn somehow weasels in and tries to settle and robs people of money.
All right, John Fitch. Well, listen, we don't want to put any mental stress on you. Big fight coming up for you. You're defending your title against Jake Shields, and we're looking forward to that. Ray Sefo was just in our studio, and he said this might be the one he's looking forward to the most. It's a stacked card, but you two have definitely put in some time in the sport. So to see you two forces collide is going to be a lot of fun for us.
Yeah, I got a lot of friends and people who have been waiting for this fight for a long time. Should have happened a long time ago. We were both ranked around the same level for a long time back in the day, but we never got a chance to fight. And now we're finally getting to fight, and it's going to be for a title, so it's great.
Yep, it all goes down in about 18 days. We'll definitely be tuning in on Big NBC. John Fitch and Jake Shields at WSOF 34. Hashtag WSOF NYC. Get things started, folks. Share your thoughts. And follow John on Twitter at johnfitch.net. Spell it out. All right, John, thanks for the time, brother. Happy holidays.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right,
See ya.
see ya. He's in good spirits, right?
I was just about to say that. Yeah, it's a different John Fitch here.
Yeah. So, well, now there's, I guess, a little bit more free time, maybe family time, because he was a coach at One Kick Knicks here in Vegas. He was guiding a lot of the guys' career. He was their head coach, so he had some of that. He had his own career to worry about, and now it just seems like he's a little more cheerful. Not that he was a grumpy old bastard or anything like that, but I didn't see him smiling as much, I guess, when I would run into him.
Yeah, I mean, John's a little different. He doesn't smile as much as the other guys, but it doesn't mean he's not having a good time and he's not into whatever it is you have to talk about. He's just kind of a little bit more reclusive, is that what I say?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
All right. So we're going to take this commercial. It's our only commercial of the second hour. When we come back, we'll be talking to Jake Shields. That's John Fitch's opponent. Jake will be challenging John for his WSOF title on December 31st, like we've been telling you all afternoon. And that's a 4 p.m. Eastern start time on Big NBC. That's Channel 4 if you're a SoCaler like we used to be, or it's Channel 13 if you're a Las Vegan like we are now. We'll be right back after this break.
They are the reason Donald Trump wants to build a wall. They are Gorgeous George and Goze, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
Want to give a shout out to Gavin McCarran watching on Facebook. Yeah, seeing how we can possibly tweak the show there. Maybe take a look, Goze. We always enjoy the feedback. So thank you, Gavin, for chiming in. We're still working things out. This is only our first complete week trying out the Facebook live chat and also YouTube. So we ask that you bear with us.
Mm-hmm.
So John Fitch, ready to go against Jake Shields. Seems in good spirits. We politely asked Greg, Greg S., the WSOF contact, our new WSOF contact. I'm not sure if this is public or not. I guess it will be soon. But I said, you better tell Jake, give him the last spot because he's a late riser.
Still?
Yeah, well, back in the 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. days,
Mm-hmm.
I just knew we either had to go overtime, stay over a little bit. But now that we're 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., I just said, just give him the latest one.
I thought that was the tweak that.
Yeah, I think he's more of a night owl like me. Let's bring him on. Jake Shields, one of the best ever. What's up, Jake? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. You still a night owl, brother?
Yeah, I'm still a night person. I've always been. Every now and again I'll start getting up early for a minute, but I always just fall back into the routine of staying up late, getting up late.
So what do you go to bed at?
It seems natural for me, and since I fight at night, I don't have to fix it.
Yeah. Do you go to bed at 4 a.m. and wake up at the crack of noon, or what's your deal?
Usually not that late. I've gone through phases where I do that, but now I'm trying to go to bed like 1 or 2.
All right.
Yeah, this is I'm going to bed at like 4 and stuff. The Nick and AD is time. Go to bed 4 or 5.
Oh, you know what? Somebody wanted me to ask you about. I know this is a long shot, but have you heard rumors of Nick Diaz versus Robbie Lawler at UFC 209 in Las Vegas? They said you're having Jake come on. He's one of his homies. Ask him, see if he can confirm it.
I haven't talked to Nick in like 2 weeks, so I think he's out in Hawaii. So I mean, back then I hadn't heard anything about it. So unless it's something that just came up, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm. I've been telling everybody about you haven't fought in over a year, but you're back. But damn, you got some major scoreboard. You got to win over Tyron Woodley, the UFC welterweight champ. Dan Henderson, one of the greatest, who just recently retired. Damian Maia, a top contender over there. Carlos Condit, Yushin Okami, who's sharing the card with you. You never really thump your chest, other than that one time you sent a tweet out with the picture of your 5 belts to Mayhem Miller. But why have you always been, I guess, kind of like that chill dude that just doesn't really, rub it in anyone's faces that you've been an ass kicker all these years?
Yeah, not really my style, but maybe I need to talk a little more shit. Might be a better idea. Sometimes that works. But yeah, I'm just kind of a mellow dude, like, enjoy training, enjoy fighting, but we don't really enjoy the shit talking part.
Right. Water bottle throwing, you enjoy that? I've seen you do that like in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I enjoy the fighting part. I got no problem. I enjoy that part a little too much, unfortunately. When a brawl breaks out, and I'm like, oh shit, I better get out of here.
I've seen that. I saw a little skirmish once at the Playboy Mansion that could have turned ugly, but it didn't. You remember that one, Jake?
I forgot about that. I forgot all about that. There's too many of them.
That came up on
Trig, was that?
It was with Trig. That came up on the Underground.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, some guy was recanting the story.
Why were we even fighting? I know we didn't like each other for a minute. Somehow we got into it.
I'll remind you. I'll tell you what happened. In 2006, you were in the same tournament as he was, along with Anderson Silva and Yushin Okami. You won that one, Rumble on the Rock.
I remember that. Yeah, I won the tournament.
Yeah, he was
But
coming
Craig
off.
didn't do so well.
He was coming off a loss to Hughes and GSP back to back, so he was taking it kind of hard. And I think he felt as a veteran he might be one of the favorites in there. And of course, we had all heard of Anderson Silva, and so I think he was just the veteran. You were the young guy, but I think it all started there. But at the Playboy Mansion, I don't know if you know this part.
Somehow we got a little. Yeah, I don't really have to Playboy Mansion.
At the Playboy Mansion, you're walking out, and we can all say this now. It's been 10 years, right, Goze? Who gives a shit?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, and check this out. So Phil Baroni, who's friends with both of you guys, everybody kind of knows there's friction between Shields and Trig. And so as we're all walking out, he's pushing you into Trig. So everybody's filing out, and Baroni was kind of pushing you. And you're just kind of like, hey, stop it, Phil. You're not saying it, but you're just looking back like, what are you doing? And then on one of those, he gives you a good shove. And so Trig thinks you're shoving him. And so he reacts by turning around. And I don't know if there was an elbow and a punch. And quickly everybody got in there and it was broken up. But all I know is The look on the Playboy security.
Threw down, but it got pulled apart.
Playboy security looked around and they said, "Thank God these guys broke it up amongst themselves because I think they were outgunned there." You know, it may have turned instead of Shields versus Trig, it may have turned into MMA versus Playboy security.
The whole the party ended right after that.
I was helping each other out.
Exactly.
Paid enough for that shit.
But do you remember?
They want to deal with models, not dudes fighting.
Remember at the end of the whole thing though, they made up.
Yeah, they took
and
a
then
picture.
This is literally like maybe 5 minutes after that whole melee. Then you have a picture of Trig and Jake, and they have roses in their mouths. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that as well.
I was cracking up.
Yeah,
at
I think that was funny when we realized Phil Brony almost got us in the fight. We should have beat him up instead. Phil always causing trouble.
Do you now when you run into some of these veterans, is it just good laughs, or has there been any one guy that you still don't like, other than Husamar? I know you'll despise him for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I'm all cool with all these guys. You know, you talk a little shit here or there, but mostly it's not that big of a deal. I know I see Trig every now and again, and I get along with him fine. I mean, Frank Shamrock, never cared for that guy. I haven't really, I still think he's kind of a prick, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll be friends with him. I doubt it, but you never do know, right?
Yeah. Tell me about that. Is that NorCal beef? I don't recall why you and Shamrock.
He's just a guy that I found kind of arrogant. Nothing like, never almost thrown blows with him, but I just never really cared for him. And then when Nick fought him, he just seemed really arrogant to me.
Yeah.
Well, I liked him way back in the day when I first started watching fighting, but just, being around him as a person, he just seems so, he's just so arrogant, full of himself.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, Fitch was very complimentary. We just had him on the show. We had Ray Sefo on the show. So we've been talking about WSOF 34. He can't wait to test himself against you, and he knows about, I brought up the submissions or the grappling world as well. But, he says this is a whole other thing, and he looks forward to his title defense versus you. And how about you towards him? You guys used to be training partners. It seems like you guys are pretty cool.
He's a guy I got a lot of respect for. So certainly not going to talk any shit on Fitch. He's he's a great welterweight. Had a great career, and I think he's still talented. So I'm excited to be fighting him for this title. It's one of those fights I expected to happen years ago. I always thought me and Fitch would fight, both being NorCal guys, both being top five welterweights most of our career. I'm surprised we haven't fought before, but it's a fight I'm excited for.
Yeah. And
definitely not a guy I'm looking past. I think some guys forget just how tough Fitch is. He's one of those guys that goes out there and grinds to win, but he always finds a way to win. He's not like the best at any of the disciplines, but he's good everywhere, great shape, mentally tough, and he goes out there and just does not stop. So he's a really dangerous opponent.
Now, I know there was a little bit, it was quick and it was resolved. There was a little bit of a contract issue, and that's why this took a while. But other than that, can you explain why you haven't fought in 16 months?
Yeah, I mean, after the Paul Harris fight, I think I was kind of a little bit at a sour taste in my mouth. Just the way that fight went down. I was winning the fight and then getting my eyes gouged. That was my eyes were pretty messed up for a minute, and I was just kind of, I've never bitched and complained about a fight and felt cheated. But this is the one fight that I kind of felt cheated out of. Like I was dominating the fight, and just the way it was, the way the ref didn't do anything. I was had a little bit bitter for a minute. Just needed a little time off. Fought so many years too. I probably needed a break, and I said had a little longer break than I wanted because of the contract thing. But I stayed busy during the time off. I got to focus on grappling tournaments and stayed active that way.
Jake Shields, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. Goze, what do you have for Jake?
Jake, I know that you're a professional and you've been doing this for a long time, but outside looking in, to us, it's got to seem miserable to be able to fight during the holidays. Is it like that, or because you've been doing this for so long, has it just kind of become a routine?
Man, a little bit of both. It's like, it does suck fighting the holidays. I don't have to skip Christmas and all that, but also I've been involved in it for so long. It's something I've done. I've missed a bunch of holidays because of that. If you're fighting, obviously, or if you're fighting near Christmas or even in January, you completely have to kind of basically miss the holidays. Not to mention I've gone, Japan with Gil a few times during like the Pride days to corner him. So it's one of those things I'm used to.
What does it mean to be fighting in New York City?
Oh man, New York's I love that city. It's my favorite city in the States, and so it's really exciting to go out there and fight at Madison Square Garden.
Can you talk a little bit about the chess match with John Fitch, because both of you guys are kind of two guys that are very good at taking advantage of other fighters' mistakes. And when I play the fight out in my head, I can't figure out if you guys are going to get right at it or if there's going to be a little bit of a feeling out process.
I mean, it's hard to predict what happens in a fight, but I would like to go out there and get right at it. I want to go out there and try to end this fight and not let it go 25 minutes. You know, no one wants to fight for 25 minutes. I want to go out there and hopefully submit Fitch early on.
And Jake, going back to what I was saying earlier, you did have a resolution to your contract, but what is it like if you become a champion? You stay with the WSOF, either way, or
couple more fights. We were resolving, so not.
Okay, so your immediate future could be to capture a world title and then defend it before you even start talking about a free agency status.
Yeah.
All right.
So
yeah,
exactly. So I'm hoping the World Series does really well and does good on NBC, and I'll be ready, excited to defend my belt.
What would you say about the fearsome foursome? You, Gil, the Diaz brothers that always used to roll together. I know it's tougher to keep you four together, but how often do you guys actually get together and train? And will there be any support from their end for you on that night?
We don't train as much as we used to. Maybe twice a month. I mean, sometimes we'll train more. Sometimes we train every week, but realistically, probably only twice a month now, which is unfortunate because we. But I think it is great though that after about 15, maybe 16 years training together, we still do train together. That's really unusual in this sport. I mean, as you know, guys are constantly switching teams and not being loyal, and I think it is really cool that we've all started together. You know, we were all broke young kids together, and now we still stayed close and still train together.
Mm-hmm. And will any of them be in support of you at your fight on the 31st?
Yeah, for sure. Gil's coming. I think Nate said he was coming out too. I haven't talked to Nick. It's definitely possible he could come out as well. So I mean, hopefully they'll all be there.
Because I don't know if you guys know this or not. I think you have to. But there's something pretty fucking cool about when three of them walk in the other guy. I don't know what it is, but maybe it's that long-running mystique of just that Cesar Gracie fight team, and I'm not sure if you guys still go by that or Scrap Pack or anything else. But when one of you's missing or a couple of you missing, it's just like, goddamn. As a fan, I know I say it. I know others say it because I watch the chat rooms and the tweets and the this and the that. But when all four of you roll in, it's pretty damn cool. It kind of almost reminds me of like, what were they called, guys? The Four Horsemen from like wrestling, Ric Flair, yeah, like that. Or maybe the Gracie train. Remember the Gracie train, Jake, when they'd all come in like that? Hopefully you guys can do that as much as possible still.
Yeah, no, it's great when we're all still there, and like I said, it's not that we all still do it together, so it's pretty cool, that we've this many years and we've all stayed close, and as you know, it's really rare in the sport for guys to train together for like 16 years and not hate each other.
Have you gone through that phase where you guys maybe didn't talk to each other for 3 months?
We've actually never had any drama, which is pretty surprising. I can't think of one time where we've had any problems at all.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Gil will get into it occasionally. I'm sure Nick and Nate get into it occasionally because Gil's like he's like my little brother. But so there'll be times when I yell at him or he yells at me, but it's never been like a real issue. It's just a minor thing.
So it's something that gets.
Nate, I don't think we've ever had anything at all.
So it gets squashed before you walk out of the gym.
We're a group. Exactly, we're a group that really cares about each other. I think sometimes you see people who have too much ego or little things. They're not really trying to help each other out, and we're a group that we really all try to help each other succeed. And, as you can see, we all have each other's back. Maybe a little too much is why I'm more defensive of them. Someone talks shit to me, I don't really care. But, we've gotten in fights. All of a sudden, someone talks shit to one of them, and it's like an insult to me. And that's usually when problems break out.
Yeah.
I remember at the MGM Grand one time, but this was, I think, 3 years ago. All four of them were walking out, and they were going by I forget what that bar is, but you know what I'm talking about, the circular bar.
The Zuri bar or something?
No, the
like
one behind it. And they had other guys with them, I think Joe Schilling and a couple other guys. But I just remember how cool it kind of looked. It reminded me of like, Sammy Davis Jr. and all those guys coming by. Yeah. But as they're coming by, remember with the Coca-Cola commercial where is it Mean Joe Green that throws his jersey on the kid?
He throws his jersey to the kid.
So they're coming around, and Gil sees me. And he comes over to give me a quick fist bump, and he had icebreakers, those little mint things or whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hey, you want one?" And I took it, and I remember thinking, "Damn, should I eat this shit or should I just hold on to it?" It was just such a cool moment, but just they had this mystique that you're talking about,
right?
When they were walking together,
yeah.
Where it's like people just kind of parted ways, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when they roll like that. Yeah, definitely. Jake, let me ask you this question that's gonna kind of suck, but goddamn, when I hit refresh. And caught up on you and Fitch. He's 38, you're 37. Holy crap. I know you guys have scaled down, beating each other up and shit, in the gyms. But are you going to do this? You think you'll make it to 40 or a certain amount of fights, or are you, rounding third base and closing your career?
Man, Yeah, that's a really good question because it's, obviously, you look at the age and I'm like, oh, fuck, I am older. I got to start thinking about, you don't want to push it too far. I don't want to be the guy fighting when I'm not at that top level anymore. So I'm just taking it one fight at a time, but I feel like my body hasn't slowed down at all. I feel like I'm still fighting at the elite level and haven't slowed down at all. If I start feeling like I'm slowing down, then that's when I'll retire. So I just take it one fight at a time at this point.
Mm-hmm. All right, my man. Great to catch up with you. Wish you the best of luck with the rest of your camp. Happy holiday season. And we'll be tuning in, man, on Big NBC on December 31st for WSOF 34. Good luck in your quest for yet another title.
Great, man. Thanks a lot.
All
Talk
right.
to you guys soon.
We'll see you, Jake. Take care.
All right. Bye.
See ya. Jake Shields. There you have it. In a good mood himself.
Mm-hmm. You're right. It has been a long time. I think
Yeah.
the first Jake Shields interview I ever booked was through MySpace.
Was it really?
Yeah. Remember we were telling Stitch that?
That's right.
He's been a part of our show since the very beginning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 37 and 38 years old. So, these are, I would say, if I had to guess, John will fight maybe 5 more times, 3 to 5 more times, but I put Jake in the 5 to 10 more times. Why? Because Jake, similar to Damian Maia, doesn't seem to take damage.
Mm-hmm.
He's 1 year younger, and then his lifestyle, the parent who has most custody,
Yeah.
and his daughter's older, so she's probably I think she was like 5 or 6 years old, cute as a button when we met her like 10 years ago. So she's probably in her teen years, whereas John's kids are probably running through walls and doing stuff. So
his kids are pretty
that would just be my guess. Yeah.
Yeah, they run around. I've seen the boy run around in practice. He's got his little, what are they called? Not ninja stars, but these little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle knives and stuff. He's funny.
Again, thank you to Greg S. for lining that up. He's lining our show up tomorrow as well. Marlon Moraes will stop by, the bantamweight champion and one of the top bantamweights in the world. He'll be defending his title at WSOF 34. We're also working on yet another guest from that card, but I don't want to say it just yet, otherwise I'll jinx it. That's a Jim Rome line that I'm stealing there. He always used to say that. And we'll definitely fill out the dance card for not just tomorrow, but Thursday and Friday. We want to give you as many fighters as we can as we close out this great year of ours. We also will be taking off some days off the following week, so want to give our editorial as much content as we can and stack it up. We will be back, by the way, after Christmas on the 26th. We'll be here that whole week leading into UFC 207 and WSOF 34. So anyway, thank you to Jake Shields, John Fitch, and Ray Sefo for their time. Danny and Goze, you guys did a great job. I took it to another level. I was fantastic. So big pat on my back. We'll see you all tomorrow with another edition of MMA Junkie Radio. Until then, be champions.
Never be the same.